Hi and welcome. I'm cleaning my hands. Alright, sorry for the delay. I was not feeling up to it yesterday, so let's try again. Let's try again today. I'm going to do a self-portrait. I have some acrylic paint. I don't know how long this one, is gonna behave. I put it on. It's starting to drip. So we'll see. I have Payne's Gray in Golden Open. And I have burnt Sienna, or what I could still extract from the tube, also in Golden Open. And I have Titanium White, also in Open. This is actually what I don't like about Golden Open, is it's the consistency is very fluid. That being said, let's make it a little bit more fluid. I'm gonna do a self-portrait. I tried to get to mount my mirror. It gave me shit, and I'm on the 3rd day of my periods, so it had to go. Like, I don't have the patience for that stuff. So I have my phone up here and my front camera on. Alright, so I'm just gonna do it like that. Almost threw it across the room. So, who's here? Ariana's here, Dylan is here, hi. Kelly, Linda, I hope you're feeling, yes, I am feeling better, in a sense that my painkillers decided to work. But I'm still gonna murder everyone that gets in my way, so. Alright, so this is, I think, my second self-portrait. And it's basically an excuse for me to paint a little bit more free, maybe a little less technical, maybe talk about not so technical things. So tell me what you have been up to this week in terms of art, or in terms of life stuff. My son was in school camp. School camp? Yeah, school camp. So away, right? Last week when we had the live stream, he was away. And I got this this giant paper up, and you know, it was getting very warm. And so I stayed up really late, or that's like my excuse, right, for staying up crazy late. And basically just for 3 days like a speed train, you know. And yeah, then I maybe sort of kind of crash into the wall, you know, the infamous wall. And I'm always, you know, sort of angry with myself for not being able to keep that up longer. I don't know what that is. There's always something with me, right? Linda says, I'm so intrigued by how you paint eyes. You just pick a little bit of paint and you go like, yeah, I guess somewhere around there. You know, it helps that I really pronounced eye sockets, which is basically what I'm drawing is the whole eye socket. So you don't really have to decide yet where the eyes are. Kelly says, I'm working on a hummingbird in colored pencil. Bless your patience. A hummingbird in colored pencil. That sounds awesome. Was it for the like competition thing? I think you mentioned something like that. Alright. We're gonna measure the time by the drip of this Payne's gray. Linda says, I'm still painting this mixed media piece inspired by a course I used a childhood photo manipulated with an app and AI. So colorful, I'm loving it. I think I'm overworking it though. Such is life. Whee! Alright, yeah, you go ahead. Trip on down. Payne's gray, haven't used this for a while. I totally feel that energy is typically out of 10. Yes, exactly. I'm trying very hard to sort of, you know, sorry, just stopped talking halfway. To sort of manage that, you know? Because I'm not 18 anymore, and, you know, the whole staying up till 3 a.m. is probably going to haunt me till I'm 50. So, yeah. Alright, Payne's gray. Fun thing, Payne's gray with burnt sienna, or basically any blue with any like warm earth tone, like burnt umber or something. You can get a fun range of grays. And you get those grays like this. You can make them warmer. You can make them colder. Depending on what you need. It's a lot of patience for a little bird. It's a little bird. Let's stick to bird. Hey, Libby, from the hotel room, in the middle of moving. It's so good to see you. Thank you, Libby. I'm glad everything's going sort of kind of smooth from what I can tell with your move. Kelly says, I got the flower, yes, finished, dropped off for the small show. Yes, for this, cool. Alright, what else can we do? So the one thing I really do not like about papers that call themselves acrylic papers, which is what this one does, is that they're apparently not treated with anything. And I kind of assumed that when I bought it. I thought, alright, maybe this has some kind of, treatment, like with oil paint paper, right? It's treated, but not this one. So what happens is that you put stuff on and it sinks right in, right? The water sinks right in. So your golden open is no longer open because it's really just too dry for that. I worked with golden open on oil paint paper, and that actually worked well for me. But I am out of that, so gotta do it like this. Libby says, yes, it's good. So far, we'll leave next Wednesday. Fly in our stuff. Oh, that's so cool. Just the thought of flying in your own country. It wasn't that long ago that I realized that that was actually a thing that Americans do and Canadians do, and probably in South America they do it too. Flying in your own country. Which brand of paper? This is Canson acrylic paper. I think they call it acrylic only because it's 400 grams. Per square meter. So it's really thick and it holds up well. I mean, it does. But I think it's really just kind of a fancy watercolor paper. Hey, Beth. Good to see you. Yeah, we have some coverage finally. Alright, so here's the thing. I'm gonna make a confession. Only during live streams. So I agreed to paint live during some kind of festival that I was invited to. And my son was like, how about you don't? And I was like, how about I don't? That's probably a better idea. And then my ego got the upper hand, or like the control over my Instagram account, and was like, sure, why not? And now it's a thing. I need some more Payne's Gray. Flying in the Netherlands, the time to check in is enough to... Yes, exactly that. That is so true. That is so true. Yeah. It is hot. Well, it's not 46 degrees Celsius. All right, we'll just be quiet. Ariana, it is not hot here compared to some of that madness. It's hot for Dutch standards. I'm just enjoying the live chat silently, if you don't mind. Let's see, all right. It's looking ghastly already, so we're on our way. Alright. Let's see, that's a lot of weather talk. 27 degrees in the UK. That must be awful for you guys. I think it's quite warm here for the time of the year, but I'm not sure. Let's see, are we gonna put in eyes or we're just gonna leave it? This is drying very quickly on my palette. I was recording some stuff and I used regular acrylics. I got about 2 minutes of open time on that. So I figured maybe the open ones would do better. They do give you more time, honestly. They're not bad paints at all. But I'm running out of white now, and I'm actually like wondering, should I, purchase a new one? Just stick with oils. I like the one eye. Tulip has two eyes now. I've never tried painting eyes like this. Yeah, it's you mean like from a bigger shape, like from the shape of the eye socket? What I like about general shapes is that you can always decide later how much detail you want in that. I mean, of course, if you paint something, you could scrape it off or whatever, but sometimes I found, or I find, putting in the eyes very early, I find it's very determined, you know, like, okay, this is it now. Water. Yeah, the shape thing can be quite daunting, I think. I'm not really sure how it goes in art school, but I can kind of imagine that they focus on that a little bit more and sort of make you do it. But yeah, when I started to, I did a lot of graphite pencil when I was a teenager, so you would always, you know, start with the details, basically. And it wasn't until, you know, YouTube got more popular that I started seeing videos of people actually making drawings and putting in these basic shapes and then doing the details in the end, and it never really it never really occurred to me to do that. And like from a technical point of view, it has benefits. I don't want to say it's better, but it has benefits. But I also find that from like a creative point of view, it leaves a little bit more room for, yeah, what you want out of a painting, you know what I mean? Like, I don't paint to be realistic or to be accurate all the time. So what I want is some space to kind of see where I want to take things. You need the eyes in pretty early. Well, you should give it a try and just not do that. Yeah, no, it definitely depends on your style. But you should go ahead and try it all, you know, before you settle. I find that, you know, what I like the most about changing, you know, ways of painting, especially in practice stuff, you know, stuff that doesn't need to be on Instagram or whatever. And I like it because it keeps my brain from thinking, oh yeah, there we go again. You know, we're gonna do this trick or that trick again. So it keeps my brain a little bit awake, I guess. You come from a drawing background, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, same here. So yeah, I also did, you know, the eyes, nose, long time. And the funny thing is that painting also changed the way that I draw. Painting kind of made me realize that not everything has to be there in order to say something. Like the graphite community, if you will, online can be so devastatingly full with these hyper realistic works that make you put down your pencil and be like, okay, well, bye bye. Right? It just never occurred to me really that drawing does not necessarily have to equate realism or details also. I almost drank my paint water. You have no process. No, you don't, because you're recovering and you need to take it easy and be nice to yourself, Beth. And you just come here and then we'll paint stuff for you. Yeah, it can be quite intimidating, right? I'm drawing differently and painting differently as time goes on. Really, you can just do whatever you want. Yeah. Learning through osmosis, that's such a good term. I like that. I need more burnt sienna. I'm almost out. Let's see if I can do this. Come on. No. It should be fun. Fun and a little bit hard. little bit dramatic, maybe. A little bit dramatic. Yeah, I drank so much Payne water already. I don't think it can get any worse. Oh yeah, I need some burnt Sienna eyeliner today. That's what I need. A challenge. That's also a good word. Breathe. Yes. Breathe is a key word, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we're all sweating and making a fuss over art, which is fair enough. I think, especially for people like me, it's never a bad idea, you know, to not forget that it really is just art. I like to try things that are too difficult. Helps me find out lots of things. This is true. Yeah. I was talking to someone about that recently. Basically about stuff we used to do as a kid. And when I was a kid, I would always like do the most insanely difficult thing. And I didn't even think about any kind of consequence or whatever. I was like, okay, cool. My idea as a kid, and I remember that very, very clearly, is if it exists, then it must be possible to do. Which is both probably the greatest life motto ever and also insane and sometimes very dangerous, but I remember thinking that very clearly, like if it was that difficult, impossibly difficult, it wouldn't be here, right? That was my glorious childhood mindset. Yeah, yeah. I think right now it's actually in school, at least in the Netherlands, it's recognized as a type of learning style. Not really sure what they're gonna do with it, but voila. ever had someone compliment your art that is nowhere near finished? And you're like, damn, I have another hour to go, at least I don't. Yes. I actually noticed that people are really impressed with first stage stuff, and yeah, it's fascinating. Like, I don't know if it was kind of like in fashion for a while, where this unfinished look was a thing. But yeah, I had a lot of people come in and say, ooh, that's nice, you should hang it, or ooh, can I have that, or ooh, don't change a thing. Which is why I don't like people in my studio, but voila. And the thing is, people see this image, and it connects with them, and they don't care that you worked on it for 5 minutes, or you have this whole plan, or whatever. People look at it and go like, that's really cool. And so yeah, you have to ask yourself, all right, so here's a question then. If you have an unfinished painting and somebody comes in and says, yeah, I'll take it for whatever price you were considering selling the end product for, would you sell it unfinished? Yeah, why not? Depends on how important my plan feels. That's a good one. The perfectionist in me says no, but the sale in me says yes. So I would sell and then do another one. That's the only correct answer. Yeah. Yeah, I think back, and there are some works that I would not like to have sold in an early stage, Is my camera terribly light, or is it me? Oh. Yep. Notice that at the end of the live stream, but alright. There we go. somehow it got lighter. Alright, I'm still on the stage that I'm really surprised and happy when people want to buy. Cool. I think we should all stay surprised and happy that people want to buy art. I kind of hope that's always going to be a thing. Yeah. Alright, I'm pretty much done. That's quick. If I don't have to talk about pigments or match people's colors, I'm pretty quick. We will never get there. There will always be growth. Yes, there will. There will. I hope you enjoyed this. I do. I like these sessions. Yeah, we're halfway, I think, the year in terms of, I don't know when I started doing live streaming every week, somewhere this year. So yeah, maybe we want to experiment a little bit with some technical subjects and then some, I don't know what to call it. Intuitive, I don't want to call it intuitive painting, because I don't like that word. Just do stuff, right? And maybe balance that a little bit more. I don't know what we're gonna do next week. Maybe another color study. We'll see about that. I hope you're well. I hope you're well in the temperatures that you are. Thank you, Beth. Feel better. Livy, good luck with your move, the last little bits of your move. And Kelly, please keep drawing your hummingbird. Linda, Ariana, thank you for coming. And I had a great time with you all again. I will see you next week, either hotter or less hot. We will see about that, but we'll be there. And I will see you then. Have a great day or a great night. Bye-bye.